Let's talk about beef-derived ingredients and flavorings. In seeking to follow the actual commandments, the written commands in the written Torah, we realize that a lot of the rabbinic enactments, a lot of these rabbinic traditions, they are not from the written Torah. They are oftentimes additions to the written Torah. And in regard to seeking out eating clean food, eating kosher food, this issue is no different, because a lot of these kosher certification agencies, they're using the rabbinic criteria to determine whether something is kosher. They are not just relying upon the written commands, they're also adding in their traditions into defining something as kosher. So we probably realize that in looking for something that's going to be acceptable to eat, we see these kosher certification symbols. And some things that we think maybe they should be certified are not going to be. And part of the reason for this might be the rabbinic enactments. So it can be kind of tempting to kind of circumvent the issue of kosher certification because they're using the rabbinic criteria. We're not concerned with following those rabbinic enactments, and there may be things that we would have eaten before or that we might want to eat that aren't certified. And one way that I have witnessed going about this, and a way that I have done myself in the past, was to try to research a product, to research the ingredients, or to contact the company and ask them about the ingredients. And one question that we might ask in doing this is, are there any animal-derived ingredients? And if so, what animals? And it can be easy to think, well, what are we concerned with? We're concerned with pork and shellfish primarily. And so if we hear, well, there are animal-derived ingredients, but they are beef-derived, we may think, oh, okay, a cow is kosher, a cow is clean, so that probably means it's okay. However, there are issues we need to be concerned with beyond just clean and unclean, even by the standard of the written Torah. Leviticus 7:23 says, "Word to sons of Israel to say, all fat of bull and sheep and goat you shall not eat." So the Creator is not just concerned with us avoiding the pork, avoiding the shellfish, and things like that. There are other commands in the written Torah about our food, and this includes not eating the blood and not eating the fat, the tallow. And I want to clarify regarding this issue of the fat, because when we normally think of fat, we probably think about the fat that's around a cut of meat, or the fat that is marbled into the muscle tissue, into the meat. But this is distinct from the tallow. If we were to cut open an animal, there is this waxy fat layer over the organs and around the organs. This is the tallow. It is a very distinct substance from just the normal fat. And this tallow is what we are wanting to avoid. We do not want to eat the tallow even of a clean beast. This tallow is used sometimes as a flavoring, it's used sometimes in foods, and it is used in some medicines and supplements as well. Now sometimes it's referred to as tallow or tallowate, sometimes it's referred to as stearic acid or stearates, and it may not be referred to explicitly at all. It may just go under some generic list of flavorings, for example, and we would not know about it. So if we're looking outside of things that are actually kosher certified by some reputable agency, we may be getting into things that have tallow in them, which is something we definitely want to be avoiding. So if we were contacting a company and they said that their product had beef-derived ingredients in it, we may not remember this command and may think, well, I'm avoiding the pork, I'm avoiding the shellfish, and we may be getting into something that has blood or that has tallow in it. And as a real-world example of this, this is based upon some previous research that I did in regard to looking at dining out, seeing if there was some way to dine out and still maintain eating cleanly or eating kosher. Now, this is something that we did early on. I would not perceive that as an option now. But one thing we stumbled upon in our research is that even though McDonald's had stopped using animal fat to fry their foods in, they were still using it as a flavoring in their French fries. They were using beef tallow to flavor their French fries. Now, I tried to do some research on this more recently in order to get this information for you and see if it was current, but they would not respond to me when I asked them about that. But their ingredients list still says they use beef flavoring. It just does not specify what that is. I would assume, since it used to be the beef tallow, it probably still is. And so French fries, we may not have thought would have anything wrong with them, probably just oil and fat and salt, but they can include things like beef tallow. So beef tallow, it can be in things like French fries, it can be in other foods as well, it can be in some supplements, it can be in some medicines as well. So just asking about beef-derived ingredients, just getting this information about that, is not sufficient to know whether we are avoiding that, whether we are going to be eating cleanly. So I have a kosher playlist that I recommend that you check out. Check it in the link in the description below if you have not seen it. I talk about some other overlooked issues with regard to eating according to the written Torah and some misconceptions regarding that. So check that out if you have not already. Thanks for watching. Be sure to stay in touch so we can continue this discussion, and feel free to check out some of my other videos about other Torah issues. Thanks for watching. Remember the commands. Shalom.